Today, I want to talk about the price of Bitcoin. I also want to discuss the recent action in the stock market and how this is affecting the price of Bitcoin. I also want to dive into what the Federal Reserve said in their meeting yesterday and a few things that are affecting the market right now. Over the past couple weeks in my videos, I've been discussing that I am getting much more bearish on the stock market and why this could have a negative impact on the price of Bitcoin. So we're going to be going over all of this and more in today's video. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin, its relation to the stock market, and a few key news pieces. If you're looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart and then you take a look at the S&P since its recent peak, you can see that there has been a very strong correlation between the two. And if you watch this channel, this is not a surprise. We've talked about this many times that Bitcoin is extremely correlated to the stock market, and every major peak and every major low for the S&P since 2017 has lined up with Bitcoin's major peaks and major lows. And basically it goes like this. When the S&P is very bullish, Bitcoin is generally bullish. When the S&P is very bearish, Bitcoin is generally bearish. And this has been proven time and time again. Looking at the S&P on the weekly chart, we can see that we have developed bearish divergence, and this is beginning to play out. Today is a pretty bloody day in the stock market. And what's very interesting is that this inflection point in the stock market is taking place right before the election. And it's also really interesting that the Federal Reserve just had their last meeting before the election. As we know, as we've discussed on this channel, the pre-election season is usually bearish. If you're looking at the 59 years before 2009, we can see that the blue line, election years, are generally bearish. We usually have pullbacks going into election season based on uncertainty of who's going to be elected. And even the average year, guys, the pink line, the average year is also usually bearish. So this is not coming as a surprise to me. And also what's very concerning to me is that this entire run-up has basically just been the Federal Reserve propping up the stock market to avoid an absolute disaster, right? So keep that in mind. This is not a reflection of an economic recovery. This is a reflection of money printing, artificial pumping. Now, let's take a look at what the Federal Reserve said yesterday in their meeting. The big headline here is that the Federal Reserve will keep interest rates unchanged until at least 2023 to maybe 2024. And we're going to read a few quotes that Jerome Powell said during that speech. One of the key quotes from the speech goes like this: effectively, we're saying rates will remain highly accommodative until the economy is far along its recovery. So what he's saying here is that interest rates will remain highly accommodative for an economic recovery. And one of the next quotes he said here was, overall, activity remains well below its level before the pandemic, and the path ahead remains highly uncertain. A lot of people think that the Fed continuing to purchase securities means that we're just going to keep going up. A lot of people think that this means that what's going on here is just going to continue on into the future and everyone's just going to be happy and comfortable and everyone's just going to be making money. And that worries me a lot. Most people that I talk to nowadays are very certain that the Fed won't let the stock market go down. People have been saying these types of things to me continuously for the past few weeks. And this does worry me. It does worry me that people are just so certain that the Fed won't let the stock market go down. But the Fed is not ensuring that the stock market won't go down. They're just ensuring smooth market functioning. And if we consider what Jerome Powell said, that the road to recovery remains highly uncertain and that our economic activity levels are well below this point, right? They're well below that area. Our economy has not fully recovered at all. And since the crash, the Fed has obviously been printing trillions and trillions of dollars, propping up the stock market. And in my opinion, all of that has already been priced into the market. It's all been priced in already. So if everything is priced in at this level, and we still have to go through an entire recovery for the economy, and the Fed isn't really changing anything, in my opinion, that means that yes, the market could see some downside. And I personally do think that the market is going to see a pullback going into election season. And this would not be good for crypto. As we know, this is not good for crypto. Whenever the stock market hits a major inflection point, Bitcoin sees downside. Well, it's unclear how fast or slow the pullback is going to be. I can't predict that myself, so we'll have to see how it plays out. In the event of a major pullback, the price of Bitcoin could see much lower levels, right? We could be looking to test the 200-week moving average, which is sitting around 6,700. And that type of a scenario is totally possible if the stock market does start to see a pullback. Now, just to mention, right now, Bitcoin is still above the 21-week EMA, which in my book is still bull market territory, right? But if the stock market sees the reversal that I'm expecting, this can change very fast. So my message to you guys right now is just be as cautious as possible. The global markets don't care about Bitcoin's traditional cycles. So if I'm wrong, if I'm miscalculating all of this, and if I'm just overly bearish or something, well, if the stock market does see this type of recovery, Bitcoin would very likely see a major push to the upside and break above that previous high at 14K and potentially look to test the all-time high. So this is a really important time because the stock market is sitting at a major inflection point here. And Bitcoin as well is sitting at a major inflection point. And we know that there is a strong degree of correlation. And we also know that the stock market is usually bearish during election season, and we also know that this run-up in the stock market is not a reflection of a true economic recovery. So personally, I think it's actually a responsible thing for me to come to you guys and tell you guys the possibilities and to stay as cautious as possible. Looking at the S&P on the 4-hour, it's not looking all too good right now. We'll see how this plays out, but just stay cautious. Be careful out there, guys. And also, just to be clear for all you guys that are wondering, if the stock market does eventually see a dump in an actual downturn, not only would this most likely be bad for Bitcoin, most likely, coins like Chainlink would see very strong pullbacks, right? And this is why not too long ago, I was making videos at $14.50 on this channel. Some people paid attention, some people listened, some people didn't listen. But what I said around that level is that we broke below the upward sloping parabolic trend line and that was a bearish indication. And I've been talking in some of my previous videos that I have been reducing exposure to the market across the board. And some people didn't listen to that, right? But I told you guys that I've been reducing exposure to the market. For pretty much all of my positions, I've been taking profit. So just be very careful. Altcoins across the board, altcoins have been doing pretty poorly recently, right? They've been not seeing much support. So be very careful with the altcoins in the event of a major pullback in the stock market. And everything is really up to Bitcoin, right? Where the altcoins find support is very much up to Bitcoin. And by the way, CryptoWatch is adding the volume profile tool, I think next Tuesday. I made the mistake of telling you guys that it was already available, but because I'm a sponsor, I have a special account, and I didn't realize that this wasn't available for you yet, but it will be on Tuesday. If you're not already signed up with CryptoWatch, this is my preferred platform for charting and trading. CryptoWatch is 100% crypto 100% of the time, and it's free to sign up. It's free to use the trading features. You got nothing to lose. Click that link below and sign up now. And I'll see you guys in the next video.